Today, we're going to dive into an absolutely incredible story of transformation. We're talking about how a brand new faith, born in the deserts of 7th century Arabia, grew into a massive empire, how a deep internal split would shape its entire future, and how it kicked off a golden age of science and culture that literally changed the world.
And that really is the big question, isn't it? How does that even happen? This is the question that's going to guide us through this whole story. It's a journey that's all about faith, power, and the birth of a brand new civilization. And honestly, getting a handle on this journey is crucial to understanding the forces that have shaped our world today.
All right, so let's set the scene. Our story begins in the vast, arid landscapes of the Arabian Peninsula. Picture these bustling trade routes, these different tribal societies, and right in the middle of all this, a man named Muhammad starts to receive revelations that would give birth to Islam, the world's third great monotheistic religion.
So, Muhammad was born in Mecca, which was this vibrant hub for trade. His life takes this incredibly dramatic turn when he's about 40 years old, and he begins to receive what he believes are divine revelations. Now, these new teachings, they were met with a lot of resistance, so much so that it led to the Hijra, a really pivotal migration to the city of Medina in 622. This event was so foundational. It literally marks year one on the Islamic calendar. And it was from this new base in Medina that Muhammad managed to unite all these different scattered tribes of Arabia, a truly remarkable achievement that really set the stage for everything that was about to happen.
Now, at the absolute heart of these revelations was this one powerful idea, Tawheed, or divine unity. You have to remember, in a society where people worshipped all kinds of different gods, the idea of a single, indivisible God, well, that was a radical departure. It was a total game changer. And this powerful message of strict monotheism would become the absolute bedrock of the new faith, uniting believers into a really cohesive community.
So how do you take that powerful idea and build a community around it? Well, that's where the 5 pillars of Islam come in. This new community, the Ummah, was held together by these 5 core practices. From something as simple as declaring your faith all the way to the annual pilgrimage to Mecca, these pillars created a shared identity, a sense of belonging that went way beyond the old divisions of tribe and clan.
And then, after Muhammad's death in 632, everything changes. The newly unified forces of Arabia just burst forth from the peninsula with this breathtaking speed. This kicks off a century of conquest that would completely redraw the map of the world forever. You really have to stop and think about the sheer scale of this. A movement that started with just one person in a remote desert town grew into one of the largest empires in all of history, in just 100 years. The speed and the scope of that expansion are just staggering.
And the conquests were just so vast and so fast. If you look to the west, Islamic armies took over huge chunks of the Byzantine Empire. We're talking Syria, Palestine, Egypt. Then you look east, and they completely overran the entire mighty Sasanian Persian Empire. And they didn't stop there. Their reach went all the way across North Africa and right into the Iberian Peninsula, which is modern-day Spain and Portugal.
So you've got to be asking, how was this even possible? How did they expand so fast? Well, a huge part of the answer is timing. The 2 regional superpowers, the Byzantine and Persian empires, had just finished a long, brutal series of wars against each other. They were militarily exhausted, they were financially broke, and they were just totally unprepared for this new, highly motivated force to come roaring out of the Arabian desert.
But, and this is a huge but, right at the peak of all this success, as the empire is reaching its zenith, a deep, deep crack started to form from within. This was a conflict over the most basic question, leadership. And it was a dispute that actually had its roots in the moments right after the prophet's death.
This is a classic problem, right? The visionary founder is gone, you've got this huge new empire to run, so now what? Who's in charge? The answer to this one question would lead to a schism that has shaped the Islamic world and the geopolitics of the Middle East for more than 1,000 years. Okay, so 2 very different answers to that question emerged. On one side, you have the group that would eventually become the Sunnis. They argued that Muhammad had not named a successor, and that the community should choose its leader, or caliph, by consensus. On the other side, you have the group that will become the Shia. They believe that Muhammad had designated his cousin and son-in-law Ali as his heir, and that leadership had to stay within the prophet's family line.
And this isn't just some ancient history. That disagreement over leadership from 1,400 years ago, you can still see its shape in the world today. Sunnis make up about 85% of the global Muslim population, while Shias account for the other 15%.
For the Shia community, this split was cemented by a really traumatic event, the Battle of Karbala. It was here that Muhammad's own grandson, Hussein, was killed by the forces of the Sunni Caliph. This event created these powerful themes of martyrdom, of justice, of righteous suffering that are absolutely central to Shia identity and are still commemorated every single year.
And yet, and this is what's so incredible, despite these deep internal divisions, the Islamic world was on the verge of entering a period of just unprecedented intellectual and cultural achievement, what we now call the Islamic Golden Age. I mean, we are talking about an explosion of knowledge. In vibrant centers of learning like Baghdad and Cordoba, scholars were pushing the boundaries of what was known. They developed algebra, they made huge discoveries in optics, they advanced medicine, and they created some of the most breathtaking works of architecture the world has ever seen. It was truly a golden age. And this intellectual boom had a massive global impact. Baghdad, especially, became the world's leading center for scholarship. It was here that the great works of Greek, Persian, and Indian thinkers were translated, preserved, and then built upon. And this huge library of knowledge would eventually find its way to Europe, where it played a vital role in lighting the spark of the Renaissance.
And that really brings us back to this fascinating paradox, doesn't it? How could an era produce such unbelievable scientific and cultural progress, while at the exact same time it was cementing a religious division that would last for centuries? Grappling with that question, that's really the key to understanding the complex and powerful legacy of the Islamic Empire in its golden age.